Please stand.
Lord, we thank you. We come to you and ask for your guidance as this body attempts to make law. We ask that you watch over our troops, wherever they are in the world, watch over their families. We pray for this country, especially in the upcoming election. And again, just watch over everything we do and guide us to the best of our ability. Amen.
Amen. Next we have roll call.
Julia Coates.
Here.
Don Garvin.
Aye.
Bill Anglin.
Here.
Bill John Baker. Jack Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Bradley Cobb.
Aye.
Joe Crittenden. Jody Fishinghawk. Meredith Rayleigh.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Tina Glory Jordan. Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Soap.
Here.
David Thornton.
Here.
Kara Cowan Watts.
Honey.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the minutes from the July 15th meeting. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And next we have our reports. We have Talking Leaves. Kim, is that you today? Thank you.
Good afternoon. You have a written report in your packet. If you have any questions, I'll certainly try and answer them for you.
I had a question. I had a, and you may not know the answer to this, but it put you on the spot. I had a phone call at my office last week, and Job Corps got in Bartlesville. Job Corps got somebody stopped in my office. I was with a patient, and they said they were going to call me and said, we've got a job fair, something in Bartlesville, and are you hiring or something?
Oh,
anyway.
okay.
But nobody ever called me. Do you have any idea when something in Bartlesville is going to be?
No, I don't. Now, I just did the employment report, and I was trying to remember if they had some information about job fairs, but there was nothing in the Washington County area. I
Okay.
can certainly check and see what's going on there.
I can find it. It's okay. I just did. You had it on top of your head. No big deal. Just nobody ever called me, so I wasn't sure what it was about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any questions? Thank you. Next we have the Executive Director's report. Dr. Morton.
Thank you and good afternoon. You have our reports. There was one question asked at last meeting concerning K-8 schools, the number of enrollees who are Cherokee and K-8 schools. I have a working copy here. We'd have to go over it for about a minute if we distributed, because since it's my working copy, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to anyone but me. So if you'd like, I'll pass these around, and I just want to point out 2 or 3 headings to you that if I had prepared them for distribution, I would have put headings. Without headings, it could lead to the wrong conclusion. The reason I'm doing this is because for the last 2 meetings we've talked about the issue of dependent districts without high schools, who may be in trouble financially before the year is over. Now does everyone have one? Do I have extra copies for the council office? Good deal. Okay. Now, if you look at this just a minute, looking across, first of all, we have them by districts. Now, District number 4 and District number 9 do not have K-8 school districts. But if you look across the heading, you have county, district, total Cherokee students, and total school enrollment. Now that total school enrollment would be by all ethnic classifications. For instance, looking at Briggs School, they have 242 Cherokee students out of an enrollment of 540 students. This is 06 data. That's the most recent data that State Department has. The percentage of students who are Cherokee at Briggs School is 45%. based on our car tag payments. Notice the next column is the number of Native American students according to the State Department of Education, as reported by the public school, is 74%, considerably higher than the 45% that we know are documented. The 74% is derived from a form that each school sends to the State Department of Education, signed by the parent, but it's self-identification. So that accounts for some of the difference, but not very much of it. The main difference is non-registration and membership in the Kituba band. So that shows the tremendous effect of lack of registration and lack of registration in any tribe, Cherokee Nation or Kituba band, and also the Kituba band. Now those districts that would be bordering Creek Nation, Choctaw Nation, or the Northeast Coalition of Tribes, that would, sort of skew that number. But it gives you a pretty good idea that if you're talking about Adair County, Cherokee County, Delaware County, the chances are that difference would be either people who are, think they're Indian, can't prove it, or members of the Kituba band, non-registered Cherokees, or belong to another tribe, if they're near one of those other districts. So I wanted to point that out, and notice that if in fact we had that total percentage, we'd be better off in one way and worse off in another way. We'd be serving more students, and it'd be costing us more money. But I think this information is good for you to have, because it shows certain concentrations of population where we have Cherokee students, documented Cherokee students. With that, unless there are questions about either this report or anything in our reports.
Mr. Bozen?
So, Dr. Morton, you're saying that, is there any way to identify how many are just self-proclaimed Indians? I guess there's no way to do that, is there? That's not registered. You can never find that out. Huh.
But give you an example, in southern Adair County, I know of a lot of people, and Councilman Crittenden, you do too, who are not registered.
Right.
And many in southern Delaware County who are members of the Kituba band.
But yet they go ahead and claim that on the form they sent in
that they send to the State Department.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. For us, we require the citizenship documentation. So when that will come up from time to time, and you may be asked questions. Well, how come we have, for instance, Bell has 90. According to the State Department, Bell School has 97% Native American enrollment. And I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
I'm confident they do. It's just that through lack of registration and membership in the Kituba band, that cuts that number from 97% all the way back to 79%. So that's just for your information and decision making.
Ms. Bailey?
Are you familiar with the scholarship advisement program that's been prepared by some consultant in Tulsa, Lene Colbert?
No, I'm
He's
not.
designed a program, an extensive database of scholarships. It takes a child from high school, college, an internship, and the internship brings them back into the tribe, the particular tribe that they belong. His name is Kenny Tolbert. He's out of Tulsa, and he first started designing this for the Chickasaw Nation.
Okay.
And then the Choctaws have picked up on that also, but theirs is designed a little differently. And he said in the last 9 months, the Choctaws have found and provided 1,000 scholarships for their Choctaw kids.
Okay.
And it also helps you, like if you want to be a doctor or an engineer or whatever, they help you find the college that best suits
Help
your
match
needs.
you up.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it's an extensive database so that he has designed,
Okay.
and it can be specifically designed for the Cherokee Nation.
Okay. I'll check that out and
Okay,
have
I
a
have his
report on it
number. I'll
next
write it
meeting.
down for you.
Okay.
One of the justices told me about it the other day.
Okay.
Other questions?
One more question. Dr. Morton, and you may already give this to us, now that you've done this for the element, what about the high school?
I have given you that, but I'll,
Okay, I thought you...
but it wasn't really, I'm not sure it was 06 data, but I'll check, and if it's not, in fact, I'll do it anyway, because I have it on my desk, so I'll just run copies.
Okay.
And in fact, I'll email that to you.
Ms. Jordan?
Yes, Dr. Morton, last fall, I think it was, we discussed about the graduate scholarships, about the graduate, the children or young people that were going to the professional schools, the medical and the law schools. And was it my understanding from those discussions that those young people, as long as they were in good standing with their school, would continue to receive their scholarship, i.e. their grade point could be, if it's at a law school, it could be a 2-point that would keep them in good standing with the school.
If
We would continue
the
to-
school indicates that it's good standing.
Good standing.
Yeah.
Because with a law school, it is a 2-point.
Right.
Did we change our rules to reflect that? And I'll tell you where I'm coming from. From what I'm hearing, the rules that are going out with that went out with the packets of.
We made a mistake and we caught it.
Okay, so it is as long as they remain in good
I fess
standing.
up, we made a mistake.
Okay,
We caught it.
okay, well, that's no problem. I make mistakes all the time, and I try to fess up to them sometimes. But,
We caught it and we are making adjustments.
okay,
on those
okay.
first.
So as long as they remain in good standing at their professional school,
Right.
we will let them
At their
continue-
professional school or graduate school.
Okay.
Now, there are some graduate schools that require a 3.0.
Or even better in some programs.
So it depends on if that school says, hey, yeah, that student's in good standing.
And I believe even medical schools maybe have something between a 2 and a 3. Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor Fishing Hawk?
Yeah, I sent you an email on the other day about a person that applied for a graduate program and was told that the funds, he was on a waiting list, and you said that you thought at the end of the month they may be funded.
Right.
Are we pretty sure
We
of
have
that?
20
I remember last year we had to do something.
We have 25 students who are graduates, who are in traditional graduate school on the waiting list. Now, our chop-off date for those students that applied for undergraduate scholarships or graduate, either one, is August 19th. Now, every year, we have a number of students who are awarded but decide they're not going. We take that money then and fund the rest of them. We're confident that we are going to be funding all who applied and qualified on the 19th.
Okay. Would you let us know if we don't, or if there's any left over?
And the student that you contacted us about is going to be okay.
Thank you.
Councilor Hoskin?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'll get you the name of the particular student later, but I received word from a family that said they got a letter saying, congratulations, you've been awarded a scholarship, and then got a letter saying disregard the first letter. Now, I haven't seen either of those letters, but that struck me as odd.
Guess
other
what?
than-
That was mistake number 2. Here's what happened on that one. We held a workshop for students who received notification of scholarship, in other words, who were approved for scholarship, on how difficult college is, especially that first semester. It was a very, very neat workshop because it was conducted by college students, explaining how the college schedule differed so much from high school schedule, and the tendency was to sleep in and miss that one and so forth. A few slipped by. The person that was sending out the notices, working from a list, a few slipped by who had been denied a scholarship, got the letter inviting them to the workshop on entering college. So that was mistake number 2 this month. There are others, but I'm not going to tell you about them.
Okay, thank you.
But that was a mistake.
Other questions? Okay, good, thank you. Next we have Head Start. I don't see Ms. Thompson anywhere.
Verna is out today,
Okay.
so she cannot be here.
Okay, good. We have JOM with Dr. Butler Allen.
Hello. Well, you have my report. Are there any questions for this last month?
Mr. Hoffman.
Well, I want to thank you for tracking down the information on the fact that no member of the Oklahoma delegation seems to have any hand in writing the JOM budget, which is disappointing, but you did get the information on which members of Congress are
Yeah, I
there.
did.
I appreciate that, and that's probably something I should share with the chairperson. She can pass it on to other counselors. And secondly, you and I talked offline about this, but the issue about JOM school supplies, I think I understand it crystal clear now. The policy is a student has to have CDIB and Blue Card in hand in order to enroll for that program. And in my district, I don't know about other counselors, there were a few families who were under the impression that they could, if they had a letter from registration saying their CDIB and Blue Card were pending, that was sufficient, and that had been sufficient in past years. But I understand from you that that's not the rule. In fact, you have to have, as I said before, the cards in hand, or you're just not going to qualify.
Or if they don't have them in hand and registration is processing through and has that
Yeah, they can verify that through a letter.
They can verify that.
And then the other concern I have, and this is or maybe a registration issue, is if how long is it taking registration to process CDIB and stuff? I mean, if you have a family who a year out is in good faith sending that information in, and school time comes around, then I think the reality is there's nothing we can do about it, because the policy is you've got to have that card, notwithstanding that it might, for whatever reason, take registration longer. You give me some documents that I think said back in 2005, the estimate was it took about 5 weeks, assuming the packet was complete and registration. You don't have any reason to think that's taking longer now, or is that something we need to check into to see if registration's taking longer
I
now?
could definitely contact Leela Ermatuski and ask her if it's slowed down in the process, because when we were going through the transition of being verified through parent membership and a birth certificate, we worked hand in hand with registration to see that all of our students got enrolled, as a JOM student. And there were a lot of, applications coming in, and so we accepted that pending status. And at this point in time, they've been given 3 years now, and very aware that they have to go through that registration process, and it has to be.
And I do get the impression that over a number of years you've communicated with the schools and told them this is coming. My sense is that in my district there may be a school or two that I don't know if they're communicating that in the best way to the families who come in and maybe say, we got this letter and so last year, this was good enough. So as frustrating as it may be the need to remind at least schools in my district that here's the rules, and hopefully they get it this time, because my sense is they may not be getting it.
Every year we do have, and of course we already have it scheduled, a fall administrators training where we disseminate that information to the school administrators and JOM contacts. Now, oftentimes, we might have 50 to 60% of the school population show up for that training, the public schools. So the other 40% lack that information.
I know you do
So,
all you can, and I appreciate it.
but I will check on further. I'll get back with you on the pending status.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Jordan?
Yes, Miss Allen, what is the per student amount in Johnson O'Malley?
$50.
$50.
And it's been $50 for the past, I think, 4 years.
And it's all federal funding?
Yes.
We don't kick in any amount?
No, you all do. But through the Strategic Budgeting Committee, we write a special proposal for discretionary monies or gen fund monies. And so we receive appropriations in addition to our federal funding.
What's the federal funding amount for this year or?
Last year, it was 1.75.
Okay, and do you have any idea what you might get this year or whether you'll be getting any federal funding?
We will be. Continuing resolution, last year funding level was at $16.4 million. And so we'll maintain that level of funding until they decide to appropriate through the interior, the interior appropriations. And in talking with the National Johnson O'Malley director, she said all of our programs can survive on 16.4. However, the markup in the House was at 21.6 million, I think, which would have been a really, really nice increase. But we can't expect that for this program year in '09.
How much are the
Schools.
discretionary funds that's coming to you from the strategic?
Last year it was $414,000. And that funds our special projects unit. It funds some staff people as well as all of our cultural competitions and our Youth Leadership Institute, Cherokee Summer Institute. They're a whole cadre. There are 13 special projects programs that we have ongoing.
And how many students do you have in Johnson O'Malley?
We have approximately anywhere between, it vacillates, fluctuates, anywhere between 20 to 22,000.
So for every $10 you raise it per student, you're talking another 200,000. Would that be right? That'd be right.
Oh, I don't have a calculator.
Yeah.
It would be right.
If we were able to somehow raise the amount per child, for every $10, it'd be about 200,000, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Ms. Fishingham?
Yeah, I don't know if I should direct this to you or Dr. Morton. Is there any funds out there at the schools to help kids order and get birth certificates? Joe and I have been helping our schools out with the Cherokee kids to get birth certificates so they can get their white and blue card to help the schools.
And that's about, how much is it, $10 now?
10 to 15, it depends. We got them 12 over in Arkansas, 15 somewhere else,
I know that...
1750 in one state.
I know that we more than likely wouldn't allow that expenditure of funds for, through the JOM program, but...
No, I don't know if there's any program.
Yeah, other
don't have
programs,
any money.
For,
I'm just paying for it myself half the time.
my goodness, birth certificate costs, for people to order them. It's always a need. Go to the State Department. Are there any kind of funds that are available for that?
We don't have a fund at present where we can pay to, for that purpose. Be a good...
Well, Dr. Morton, you're familiar with Ada County, and I've been paying it myself, and there's a lot of kids, a lot of students over there. It's in families that's gonna, for whatever various reasons, they want their birth certificate.
Right.
And Joe and I have been going through a lot of them that way.
Let me look into it,
Yeah.
and, I'm sorry, I should have
Yeah.
mentioned. Let me look into it and report it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Ms. Stanley from high school.
Good afternoon. You have my report. Do you have any questions for me?
Will we have physics and calculus?
Not the AP yet, but we do have...
But just regular, that's great.
Right, yes.
Okay,
we do.
on campus?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And robotics.
Did you get all the computers in the dorms?
All the computers are in the dorms, yes.
And so, right now, our children have a computer in their room?
Yes.
Okay.
And a lab as well. So if you've got two kids that are sharing a room that both have a report that are due, they're going to have to draw straws to see who gets the one in the room. But we also have, I think, 5 in a lab downstairs.
So we have one computer in every room and a lab
in each dorm.
And they're all working?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Last, we have from Cultural Resources Center, Dr. Sly.
OCO, you have my report. I'll take any questions if there's any.
Okay, well, I guess there aren't. Thank you.
Madam
Speaker
Chair,
Fraley?
at this time, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include Mr. Roy Hamilton on a discussion of national treasures.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion to amend the agenda? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? You would like this under, well, I should have asked, is it under new business? Okay, we have no old business, so we will go to new business, and we'll hear from Mr. Hamilton at this time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. I wanted to take the opportunity to address you about the procedures for selecting the National Treasure Award each year in the Cherokee Nation. The processes that are taken in the selection committee processes and how it's done. This year there were some problems, I believe, with understanding what the guidelines were and how they were presented and where to get the guidelines to go with the application and that type of thing. So my concern was how it will be dealt out in the future, perhaps next year when the award is given. Could there be new guidelines presented in a better format and an easier access, perhaps?
Mr. Baker?
Madam Chair. Yes, I've had a discussion with the principal chief along with our chair on this issue, and I know that I have the official or the original resolution back in '98 setting this up, and 1988. And the Cherokee National Historical Society and the Cherokee Nation were to work together on this, and I know that this has not been happening. And so he's going to do an administrative reorganization of this to work where administration will work with the Cherokee National Historical Society to set up guidelines for this program. Thank you.
Good. I appreciate that from the chief and from you.
Ms. Callahan?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Councilman Baker Fraley. So are you going to submit your suggestions also to make sure that all your full concerns are heard so that in case they're able to be included?
I can do that, but I had already sent them to Mr. Tilley at the Heritage Center by mail because in the past it had always been under my assumption that the Heritage Center had been sort of in charge of the process, and somehow along the way it lost its way. So I thought perhaps the chief would, or some of the esteemed committee here would return it back to the Heritage Center, was my hope, and that they would be able to deal with it from there. But I would be absolutely happy to send the same thing I sent to Mr. Tilley to the council group.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Would you like me to do that?
Are there other questions? Mr. Hamilton, thank you for appearing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Nice to see all of you.
Okay, next we have announcements. The next meeting is scheduled for the 15th of September at 1 p.m. Are there any other announcements? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed. Thank you.